Hello and welcome. Today we journey back in time to explore the Silk Road, an ancient network that connected East and West for over 1,000 years. More than a trade route, the Silk Road was a living web where ideas, religions, and cultures met and mingled, shaping the world in profound ways. It was humanity's first great experiment in globalization, driven by our need to connect and explore. In the next 10 minutes, we'll witness 5 pivotal moments that defined its legacy, from its origins to its transformation. We'll see how it became a vessel for faith, a spark for innovation, and why its spirit still inspires us today. Join me as we journey through the heart of the Silk Road, a story of commerce, culture, and the timeless human quest for connection. Our story begins in the Han Dynasty of China, a time when the world was vast, mysterious, and largely unconnected. The Han emperors ruled over a flourishing civilization, their cities bustling with artisans, scholars, and merchants. Yet, beyond their borders, lands and peoples remained shrouded in legend and rumor, separated by daunting mountains, endless deserts, and the sheer distance of the unknown. In this world, the secret of silk was fiercely guarded. The process of transforming the delicate threads, spun by silkworms into shimmering fabric, was a closely held mystery. Passed down through generations and protected by imperial decree, silk, light, strong, and luminous, was China's treasure, coveted by the world. Its beauty and rarity made it more valuable than gold, and it became a symbol of status and refinement, both within China and far beyond its borders. To protect their borders and expand influence, the Han sent envoy Zhang Qian westward, seeking alliances but discovering new civilizations and goods. His journey was perilous, taking him through hostile territories and unfamiliar landscapes, but it opened the door to a world of possibilities. His journey ignited curiosity and ambition, and soon, caravans laden with silk-brave deserts and mountains, forging the first links of the Silk Road. These caravans were more than just traders. They were pioneers, venturing into the unknown in search of fortune and connection. The Taklamakan Desert and Pamir Mountains were deadly obstacles, but the rewards, Roman gold, exotic spices, and new technologies, were worth the risk. Every step along the route was a gamble, but the promise of wealth and discovery drove them onward. Silk became a sensation in Rome, symbolizing wealth and status, while China received glassware, wine, and precious metals. The exchange of goods was only the beginning. Ideas, beliefs, and artistic styles also began to flow between East and West. But the exchange was more than material. Paper-making and spices traveled with the caravans, transforming societies. The spread of paper would eventually revolutionize communication, while spices changed the way people ate and lived. Bactrian camels, the ships of the desert, made these journeys possible, carrying goods across harsh terrain. Their endurance and strength allowed traders to cross vast distances, linking civilizations that had once seemed impossibly far apart. Oasis towns like Dunhuang and Samarkand grew into bustling hubs where traders from distant lands met, exchanged goods, and shared stories. These towns became lifelines for weary travelers, offering rest, water, and a vibrant marketplace of cultures. These oases became melting pots, places where a Roman, a Sogdian, a Chinese, and a Parthian might share a meal. Here, languages mingled, religions were discussed, and friendships were forged across continents. The Silk Road's early routes laid the foundation for centuries of exchange, proving that even the harshest barriers could be overcome by human ingenuity. The determination to connect, to trade, and to learn from one another was stronger than any desert or mountain. This fragile thread of connection would grow stronger, weaving a tapestry of interaction that forever changed civilizations. Over time, the Silk Road would become not just a trade route, but a living artery of culture, technology, and human experience. The Silk Road was born from a quest for security and the allure of silk, but it became a bridge between worlds. Its legacy, one of exchange, adaptation, and transformation, would echo through the ages. The first sustained, large-scale interaction between East and West began here, setting in motion a chain of events that would shape the course of history. The Silk Road set the stage for global trade and cultural exchange, allowing distant peoples to encounter one another, share their knowledge, and enrich their worlds. The world was no longer a collection of isolated civilizations, but a network, connected by courage, curiosity, and commerce. The Silk Road's influence would ripple outward, touching every society it reached. The Silk Road story had only just begun, and its threads would continue to weave the fabric of our shared human journey for centuries to come. The Han Dynasty spun the first threads, laying the foundation for a network that would one day connect the farthest corners of the known world. Silk, once a closely guarded Chinese secret, began its journey westward, carried by merchants and adventurers across deserts and mountains. But it was the Mongol Empire that wove these threads into a vast, continent-spanning tapestry, transforming the Silk Road into the world's most important superhighway of its time. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his formidable successors, the Mongols united the Silk Road under a single, powerful rule. This ushered in the Pax Mongolica, a rare era of peace and stability that stretched from the Pacific to the Mediterranean. Bandits and warring tribes faded into the background, replaced by a sophisticated network of relay stations and patrols. Merchants could now travel with unprecedented safety, their caravans protected by Mongol cavalry. Trade flourished as never before, with bustling markets springing up along the route, filled with goods from every corner of Eurasia. The Mongols deeply valued commerce and communication, establishing the innovative Yam postal system. This network of relay stations and mounted couriers sped up travel and allowed messages, goods, and even news to move swiftly across thousands of miles. Cities like Samarkand and Karakoram became vibrant crossroads of civilization, where dozens of languages echoed in the streets and people from every background mingled, traded, and shared stories. The Mongols actively relocated artisans, engineers, and scholars from across their empire, sparking a remarkable cross-pollination of ideas and skills. This deliberate mixing of cultures led to innovations that would change the world. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing technology traveled westward, carried by traders and envoys, forever altering the course of European history. Meanwhile, Islamic science, mathematics, and philosophy enriched the East, as scholars exchanged manuscripts and discoveries in bustling libraries and observatories. Foods, art, and technology flowed freely in both directions. Spices, ceramics, and inventions mingled with new tastes and ideas, creating a vibrant cultural mosaic. Chinese noodles, for example, inspired the creation of Italian pasta, a culinary connection that still delights palates today. Persian pistachios became beloved staples in Chinese markets, just one example of how tastes and traditions blended along the route. This was truly the Silk Road's golden age, a time when goods, knowledge, and cultures moved at unprecedented speed, transforming societies on both ends of the continent. The Mongols welcomed diplomats, missionaries, and explorers, opening direct channels between Europe and China for the first time in history. Marco Polo's legendary journey to Kublai Khan's court gave Europe its first detailed glimpse of the East, fueling imaginations and inspiring explorers for centuries to come. The Pax Mongolica made the world smaller, more interconnected, and more dynamic than ever before, setting the stage for the global exchanges that would follow. The Silk Road became not just a trade route, but a living, breathing system of exchange, proving that when cultures meet in openness and unity, the world is transformed for the better. The Silk Road carried more than goods. It was a highway for faith, philosophy, and art. Stretching thousands of miles across mountains, deserts, and plains, it connected distant civilizations, making it one of history's greatest conduits for cultural exchange. Along these ancient paths, not only silk and spices, but also ideas and beliefs traveled, transforming societies along the way. Buddhism spread east from India, finding new followers among merchants and oasis communities. The teachings of the Buddha resonated with travelers seeking spiritual guidance on their long journeys, and soon Buddhist thought became woven into the fabric of daily life along the route. Monks traveled the routes, founding monasteries and creating centers of learning and art, like the Mogao Caves at Dunhuang. These sanctuaries offered rest and reflection for weary travelers, and became vibrant hubs where knowledge, art, and faith flourished side by side. These caves, adorned with murals and sculptures, reveal a fusion of Indian, Central Asian, and Chinese styles, a visual metaphor for cultural blending. The art here tells stories of pilgrims, merchants, and artists, all leaving their mark on the walls, creating a living tapestry of shared heritage. Other faiths traveled too. Nestorian Christianity, Manichaeism, Judaism, and later Islam, all found new homes along the Silk Road. Each brought their own sacred texts, rituals, and symbols, enriching the spiritual landscape and fostering dialogue between different traditions. Cities like Bukhara and Samarkand became centers of religious scholarship and architectural marvels. Their libraries, mosques, and madrasas attracted thinkers and artists from across continents, making these cities crossroads of wisdom and creativity. Artistic techniques and motifs crossed borders. Halos from Hellenistic art appeared in Buddhist and Christian imagery, while Chinese dragons decorated Persian pottery. This artistic exchange sparked new styles and inspired generations of craftsmen and painters. Musical instruments, painting styles, and even recipes traveled the routes, enriching every culture they touched. The sounds of foreign melodies, the colors of distant lands, and the flavors of exotic spices all became part of daily life along the Silk Road. The Silk Road fostered tolerance and curiosity, especially under empires like the Tang and the Mongols, who valued diversity and exchange. These rulers encouraged open dialogue and welcomed people of many backgrounds, making their courts vibrant centers of multicultural life. It was a marketplace for the soul, a place where ideas, beliefs, and creativity mingled, shaping a more interconnected and human world. The legacy of the Silk Road endures, reminding us that the highways of faith and art can unite us across time and distance. Every golden age ends. The Silk Road's decline began in the mid-14th century as the Mongol Empire fractured. Political instability returned, making the routes dangerous and expensive. The Black Death, carried by caravans, devastated populations and choked off trade. Cities once vibrant became places of fear and loss. Commerce slowed to a trickle. Meanwhile, advances in maritime technology made sea routes more attractive and efficient. Powers like Ming China and later Portugal and Spain shifted global trade to the oceans, bypassing the perilous overland routes. Yet the Silk Road's legacy endured. European explorers, inspired by tales like Marco Polo's, sought new sea routes to the riches of Asia. This obsession fueled the age of exploration, pushing ships into the Atlantic in search of Cathay and the Indies. The Silk Road's decline was not an end, but a transformation. Its spirit lived on in new patterns of global ambition and connection. The world had learned the value of long-distance trade and cultural exchange, setting the stage for a new era of exploration and empire. The Silk Road's spirit endures, reborn as a symbol of connection and shared prosperity. Today, projects like China's Belt and Road Initiative aim to recreate its legacy, building new corridors for trade and diplomacy across continents. This modern new Silk Road is ambitious and controversial, highlighting the complexities of global power and cooperation. But the Silk Road's true legacy lives in our shared culture, the foods we eat, the art we admire, the technologies we use. It reminds us that connection fosters growth, innovation, and understanding. The oasis cities thrived because they welcomed the strange and the familiar, sparking creativity and progress. In our digital, interconnected world, the lessons of the Silk Road are more relevant than ever. Overcoming barriers, embracing diversity, and building bridges, these are the keys to a vibrant, peaceful future. The journey continues from ancient caravans to global networks driven by the same human impulse to connect. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Silk Road's history. We've seen how a simple trade in silk blossomed into a force that shaped the world. The Silk Road's story is a living lesson. Our greatest advancements come from interaction, not isolation. Its legacy is the transformative power of connection across borders, cultures, and centuries. As we navigate our own interconnected world, the Silk Road reminds us that dialogue and respect weave the strongest tapestries of civilization. The journey of discovery is never truly over. Until next time, thank you for watching.